Today I'm making Pozole Rojo. I'm only making a small amount today. Here I have 2 pounds of pork meat that I cut into large chunks, and I'm going to add that to about 3 to 3.5 liters of room temperature water. I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of salt. To start, I will be adding other seasonings and spices to this, but to start, just 1 tablespoon of salt. And I'm also going to add 2 bay leaves. So my water is starting to collect foam at the surface, so I'm just going to skim that out. And I will do this several times throughout the cooking process. So now that it is boiling, just like this, you'll want to start counting or timing 1 hour. I'm going to let this boil for 1 hour. In the meantime, I'm working on my chili puree. Here in a pot of water, I've cleaned and removed the seeds of 5 guajillo chiles, 1 chile árbol, and 1 chile ancho. And I've added water. I'm going to bring this pot of water up to a boil. And once it starts boiling, I'm going to cover with a lid and turn off the heat. Let this steep until the dried chiles have softened for about 20 to 30 minutes. Once they've softened, I'm going to add them to my blender cup. And you'll notice that I've reserved 1 cup of the steeping liquid on the side. I usually don't use that, but today it didn't taste bitter. But you'll want to taste it before using, just in case. So I'm going to add my 1 cup of steeping liquid to the blender cup, 2 teaspoons of Mexican oregano, a small piece of onion, and 5 cloves of fresh garlic. I'm going to cover with a lid and puree well. At this point, my pork meat has been boiling for 1 hour, so I'm going to pour my puree through a fine wire mesh strainer into the pot. I'm also going to add a 1/4 teaspoon to a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cumin and 1.5 tablespoons of chicken bouillon powder. The seasonings and spices are definitely up to you. If you don't like ground cumin, then you can skip that. I like to add that to my pozole and even menudo. So I'm going to give that a mix and let this continue boiling and simmering with the lid on for another hour. So after the second hour of cook time, I'm going to remove part of the meat and I'm just going to break it apart and shred it. I like to leave some pieces whole and shred some of the other pieces, but you can do what you prefer. So I'm going to add the meat back into the pot. Give that a mix and add the hominy. Now today I only had 1 can of hominy, and this can was 1 pound and 13 ounces. And once you drain and rinse it, you end up with 1 pound of white hominy. Whether you're using white or yellow, it's up to you. But it does come in brine, and you'll want to make sure you rinse in cold water and drain well. If not, that brine will give a very tangy, bitter taste to your pozole. So be sure to do that. So now I'm going to add it right into my pot. I'm going to give it a mix, and you'll want to taste for seasoning and salt. So if you find that you want this a little bit saltier, then add salt to your preference. But the broth tastes great to me, so I'm not going to add any more salt or seasoning. So now that that's combined, I'm going to let this simmer for another 30 to 45 minutes. To top and garnish my pozole, I'm going to thinly shred cabbage, thinly slice some cherry radishes, dice onion, and cut some wedges of fresh lime. Pozole also goes great with tostadas or soft, warm corn tortillas. So I'm going to serve a bowl and garnish because it is done. I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.